Basically, cancer is a complex set of diseases, and there are multiple tumour streams, and even some of the work that the Tour de Cure will be supporting when we're looking at immunotherapies. So immunotherapy has had some, real good progress in the area.
The area that I'm very excited about is immunotherapy, and lots of people talk about it, but we're actually doing it here now. We've got a number of clinical trials which are in the immunotherapy space. But what Tour de Cure is doing is giving us an opportunity to fast track an area of immunology called CAR T cells. These are amazing development in the effect of immune cells that can be engineered or changed so they specifically target aspects of cancer cells in a very effective and very efficient way. And I want to optimise a whole suite of different CAR T cells that we have already generated in the lab. Some of them are already in patients, and I think we can make them work better. And Tour de Cure has been part of my research environment for a while, because I've been very keen to be involved. But they're also giving us a chance to do something that we probably couldn't do elsewhere.
When you're diagnosed with cancer, time is not on your side, so you don't need a cure for cancer today, you need it yesterday.
We are P2. P2. We are P2. P2. Rolling down the highway. Pushing through the hills.
Looking at the nurses, seeing what they've done, seeing what they do, their everyday life, what the challenges they face, I think it's, like I said, a very rewarding career to go into. I do see myself a little bit different. Yeah, I think my friends are sometimes, like you say, want to be that standout job, that most common job of being, like you say, the firefighter or doing something heroic like that. But I guess there's obviously a job for everyone, and that's why I enjoy looking at that job. I think it's a very rewarding career.
Why should you be discriminated against if you have one of the unpopular cancers, if you have something that hasn't had time to be invested in? And particularly in the area of brain cancers, for example, that is a particularly difficult area to address. And we need to invest in all types of tumour streams, all types of cancers, to benefit everyone, not just the ones where are the more likely to be impacted.
When I was first diagnosed, it was quite a sort of first day. Well, when I was diagnosed, then next day I had an operation, so it was all very quick. I didn't really know what was happening. And I guess I was like a bit confused, and I didn't really know what it was or what cancer really even existed, or I didn't really know much about it. I guess it's something that's in life, and obviously we're trying to do everything to find a cure for it, and it happens. I guess sometimes it can be avoided, but most of the times I guess it's just unlucky. Like there's nothing I did to, I guess, get this. It just happened out of the blue. So I guess it's unfortunate, but I always find it weird saying this, but in a way, no one wants to have it, but if you do have it, I really think it changes you as a person inside. Like, I wouldn't be the person I was today, not going through what I've been through. So it's more like I'm not happy that it's there, but I guess it's more, it is there, and if you get it, there's ways around it, and you just got to fight through. I remember I saw it once at my local primary school. I saw my dad do a speech with a few other people, and I think it really does have a big impact on everyone. And I think from their perspective, it's really handy to know these tips and things about it, notice signs and that, and also to always stay fit. I guess is a big part that they try and implement, because as a young kid, if you're, I guess, unfit or not very well, then it increases your chances. So to have that, someone come in and say that, it really does make you think, wow, I've really got to do stuff about this, because it could potentially happen. I love always giving back to the community, so this is my way of giving back to what they've done.
I've always been driven by curiosity. I like to know how things work. My little sister relates that if I saw a clock, I'd want to pull it apart. If there was an engine, I wanted to pull it apart. And I like pulling apart cells. And if you've got an engine that doesn't work, I want to know why it doesn't work. And if you've got a cell that's not working properly, you could picture that as potentially a cancer cell. And my interest is in comparing a normal engine versus a distorted or diseased engine. And that's really what I've been doing all my life. I'm just curious. I like to understand why something works. And if I was giving advice to myself when I was a kid at school, I would reconfirm the belief that you've got to follow what excites you. If you find something that interests you, no matter how complicated or how many barriers there are in your way, you've got to pursue that interest. So I've become a little bit focused on the concept of translational research. We use that word so liberally, loosely, and what I think translational research is where you take something that's a piece of knowledge that you may have generated in the lab or even on the computer, and then you work to apply that information in the patients that we look after. So that's what we do. We take information from the lab, we take it to into a clinical space, we start applying those lessons in our patient groups. We do clinical trials where we test those ideas, and that is translational research. The corollary to that is that ultimately you want to get practice change. So there's this concept called the valley of death in translational research. In fact, there's two valleys of death. The first valley is taking what you learn in the lab and proving that it's valuable in the clinic. That's cool. And often you do that in large cancer centres and everyone's quite happy with themselves. The next valley of death is to get that proven process or application into a broader community. So what we do here in a big cancer centre is also done out in a regional area or in even in a clinic where a GP may have to manage oncology issues. So that second valley of death, adoption or integration of that care, is the really big challenge, and I feel we're starting to make big inroads in that with research that's come out of my lab. Everything we do is about patients. Every lab project has got a patient group associated with it. I have the joy of surgeons doing PhDs in the lab. They run between the operating room and the lab. I spend a lot of time with clinicians. They become my mates, and I really feel like we're doing real stuff and making a difference. In the end, what keeps me going is that curiosity. So any kid who wants to understand how something works, there's an opportunity for you to do something in human disease and particularly in cancer.
When I see someone up front and they've got a serious problem, and you know that you can do something for them surgically, which is what we do with most early stage melanoma, and not unreasonably people want to know what their prognosis is, if they're going to live or die. And we can often tell them that this is a very serious tumour and we will do what we can, but at this stage where this is the operation that's going to occur. And most of the time we tell them, look, it's going to be absolutely fine. The vast majority of people have no problem. And then we put people into a surveillance program, and sometimes people recur, and that's the group of patients when the melanoma comes back that now benefit from all the treatments we've got. We know that the first 25 years of your life that you get your sun exposure sets you up to a significant risk for the rest of your life. So you'll notice that when the government gives the Cancer Council money to run public health programs for melanoma and skin cancer, the advertisements are all targeted at people between the ages of 16 and 25. And the reason for that is that most children under the age of 16 do it. They're told, their parents force them to put the sunscreen on and wear the hats, etc. After the age of 25, you hope they're mature enough to have learnt the lesson. But as most of us who've got children will know, between 16 and 25, they're all rat bags. And that's why the program is designed to, it's focused specifically on older adolescents and young adults, because they're the group who are out exploring the world, who get the sun exposure that potentially sets them up. It's not to say that sun exposure at a later stage is good. In fact, it's not. But the prime impact we know is in the first 25 years of your life. Can we reduce the risk considerably? The answer is yes, we can. But the next development that's coming already is ways of screening patients, or screening people who are normal, looking for abnormal lesions that can be removed at the pre-melanoma stage. And there's a number of systems going around. It's not yet been shown that screening works, but perhaps targeted screening. That is, people we know are at extra risk, either because of a family history or because they've got multiple little brown spots on them, those sorts of things. So that's where the future's going to lie. It's going to lie in education, but also what we call preventative screening. And it'll be targeted screening to particularly high-risk groups. I don't believe in superheroes, and I don't think anybody I work with, including myself, is a superhero. Look, I think it's probably fair to say that in life you often end up in the fortunate position of doing the things you enjoy doing or love doing, and people, there's a lot of them around Peter Mac who are like that. And it's the same in all walks of life, that good people do good things.
So I guess obviously going through cancer has been a big battle. I think it's brought out different qualities in me that I never would have realised I'd had. And I think it's made me kind of give back in a way. Like, giving back is something that I've always done. I always loved doing community work with the local community. I've done a lot of work with like Tour de Cure, also working with other charities as well. And I guess I love always giving back to the community. So this is my way of giving back to what they've done. Keep pushing through, keep going. There'll be light and hope at one stage. And yeah, that was what I was thinking. I guess after my second operation as well, that's what I kind of thought, you will overcome this, it will be a challenge, and you got to keep battling through and push through that wall to eventually get to the other side where you're cancer free.